You're listening to The Blind Chick, an Aftersight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Blind Chick. That's Moses Street.
And that's Penn Street, The Blind Chick. And we are so excited that all of you guys are tuning in and care about the amazing, fascinating world of the mind.
It's always a surprise what you're going to say.
I know. Okay, now I got to I got to take a nap now.
Exactly. That was it. That's the energy burst.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we are. We're so appreciative of all of you checking in with us week after week, and our ratings keep going up, but keep giving us 5-star reviews because we don't want anything else. But also just giving us, comments and sharing with your family and friends. The Blind Chick is definitely growing. Going into the holidays, we had a Blind Chick holiday Christmas sweatshirt, and I know some of you have sent us photos of you in those sweatshirts, and it's been really fun that you're sharing the word about the Blind Chick. But our guest today is so amazing. Yeah. I cannot keep him in the wings much longer. And so today we have the one and the only blind Braille artist and soon-to-be published author, Clark Reynolds. Clark, welcome to The Blind Chick.
Yeah, welcome, Clark.
Wow. Thank you so much. I was listening to the music. I was like felt like a rock and roll star just listening to that intro. It was great.
Yeah, it's our alarm clock. That's how we wake up every morning.
Exactly.
The best alarm clock. I mean, I've just got my missus saying, "Time to get up, time to get up." I was like, really? Do I have to? That's my alarm clock.
Also, obviously people can't see, but while we're still on the screen, Clark is probably the best dressed guest we have ever had.
Absolutely. We need an award. We need to come up with an award for what people are wearing when they get interviewed on The Blind Chick. And definitely Clark takes the prize.
Yeah, and Clark.
I could have worn my my Braille suit that I usually wear, but it's cold. It's not summer, and I've already worn it today going into school. So I'm actually in a gorilla hoodie. I'm ready for action.
Yes.
And even when the hood comes up, which we saw earlier, it's a gorilla head.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, Clark, I am so excited to have you on. I've been, kind of stalking you on social media and your website, and I just love what you've been doing. Can you share a little bit? I know you were born without, with low vision in one eye, but that didn't, obviously didn't stop you going on, to be a normal, quote, normal, I hate that word, but I don't know what else to call it, human being.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about what it was like, kind of what your childhood. But let's back up because, okay, some of you may have noticed he has a bit of an accent. He is from across the pond, as we say. Tell us where you are today.
Well, I'm based here, obviously, England, across the pond, and a place called Portsmouth. Now, for you Americans that are listening, Portsmouth is the home of the Navy. So if you know Portsmouth, it's where your big battleships will come in. And when we go later on the story, that place where, the ships dock in is a very important place to me. So we'll keep listening to find out more.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
awesome.
Wait, I've got even a more important question. Do you know the Beatles and the Stones? Do you know them person?
No, I'm not a Beatles fan. I don't understand the Beatles mania. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't. You know what I mean?
We lost Moses.
Oh no, I'm gone.
But-
I'm.
I don't believe the Beatles can sing. To be fair, I think that they're most. Yeah, it's just the most annoying noise in the world. The Beatles tunes. Yeah, not a fan.
Okay.
But what about Mick and the Rolling Stones?
Oh yeah, I mean, Rolling Stones are great. You know, I listen to all music. You know, it doesn't. But to be fair, I don't listen to the Beatles. Out of all the musicians in the world, I do not put the Beatles on at all. I don't know why. It just annoys me.
I'm getting so depressed.
But to cheer you up, though, I am, as you call, a soccer fan, and I do support Liverpool. So,
All right. Okay.
All right. You're back in. Moses is back in. We got him back.
He's back in the room.
So tell us about the book. I'm sorry.
Well, I should tell you where it started. Really, obviously the sight loss. You know, obviously, I'm 44, so back in the 80s, sight loss was even talked about. You know, the idea that I'm visually impaired, 6-year-old child, going to a normal school. I didn't feel different. The only thing I felt was I had the patches on the eye, so I always thought I was a pirate. Back in the day. And
hey, I was a pirate too. It's a great club to belong to.
It's a great club. But did you have the stickers that they used to put on the pupil stickers that you could put on the middle of your eye patch? And they were different kind of stickers. And you remember them?
I called it bling. I blinged mine up.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously I had the Mickey taken out of me, what kids are like in the 80s. And obviously I wore glasses. And do you know what the worst thing was? I wore the dodgy plastic NHS Clark Superman glasses.
Ooh, Superman.
Which are now in fashion, aren't they? So basically I was ahead of my time. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. I was ahead of my time. But I bumped into door frames. I didn't know what a straight line look was, but like I said, I was normal. I didn't know no different, but I knew at the age of 6 years old I wanted to be an artist, and that was the most important thing in my childhood.
So, Clark, can you tell us, because it's always fascinating to me, what was the trigger? Like, were you exposed to art at 6 years old? Like, why? Like, why did you all of a sudden?
Yeah. So my school, growing up in a very deprived area, my school took me to a local art gallery called Aspects Portsmouth. And, the idea of going into a building and just being transfixed with art, it's kind of like escapism, escape from what the world was at that time, a horrible childhood. And art was my best friend, really. And then I always say, my first ever painting that really triggered the idea of being an artist was the piece called The Yellow Cow by Franz Marc. Now, if you've not seen this artwork, imagine when you're a child and you draw a cow. You always draw a cow white with black splotches or black with white splotches. That's your typical cow. Imagine seeing a painting that's a bright yellow cow with purple splotches. It blew my mind. It was like, my God, the grass doesn't have to be green. And I think that was the catalyst. It was like, art could be anything it wants. There's no rules in art. And I love that.
Absolutely. Yes. So, Clark, did you start creating art at 6 years old, or was there a delay?
No, I think the idea that obviously there was comic book strips around, like the Dandy and the Beano. So I used to love, copying, because that's the best way to become an artist. Like, it's to copy, to learn through mistakes. But I did love drawing maps. The idea of cartography and shapes and that. I love just literally finding a country and drawing that shape. And then I realised that cartography was done all on computers. And I decided, no, I don't want to go into cartography. But yeah, art was, if like anything, the idea of any pencil, crayon, piece of paper, an old cardboard box became a way of expressing myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you went on, so then later in life, you did lose your vision in your other eye. Is that correct?
Yeah, so obviously growing through my teens and stuff, I left school, I had bad kidneys in my teens. So yeah, my life is like one big roller coaster, really. So I left school at the age of 14. And then I got back into higher education. And because of the illness, I thought I get a degree that's kind of skill based because I can do all the crazy stuff later. Because no one's taught me how to draw and paint. It's always come from the heart. So I got a degree in model making. And you know when you're growing up and you're like, oh, I'm going to be an astronaut or I'm going to be an architect, right? I became a dental model maker, right? And it's like, it's one of those careers that when you grow up, you're thinking, oh, a dental model maker? What is that? And I loved it. I loved the being in a team and, again, the creative aspect and workarounds. And
Clark, it was so fantastic for me to see that in your bio about your dental artistry, because the syndrome that I have really, really affected my teeth growing up. And it was not because I didn't brush my teeth and floss and do the things you're supposed to do. It was just part of the syndrome I had. So as an adult, I remember and I was always embarrassed of my smile as a kid. I would always put my fingers over my mouth, and I would try not to smile with my teeth showing. And so as an adult, when I finally got dental work done and I had the first time I had a bridge done, and the dentist explained that it was art, and it really was art. They're all individualized, and it was I cried the first time because I really smiled. And it was actually when I knew Moses. And I was just, it was life-changing for me that I got this new smile that I was so proud of. And so it was so exciting when I saw that, Clark, on your bio, that was something that you were doing.
Well, it was interesting because the idea of, in that industry, I knew nothing about it, and then I worked, but the worst thing is I got to the point where, I found a career after all that study time.
Yes.
And then I noticed a dark shadow in my good eye. Now I wore glasses, I wore glasses for, majority of my life, from the age of 6 years old. So a good 25 years.
Yeah.
And I just noticed something, and then I went to the doctors. Well, I went to the opticians first, and the doctor said, "Oh no, nothing wrong." And I said, "There is. I know my own body." And I went to the hospital, and 4 optometrists looked in my eyes and look up, look down, left, look right. Sat me down. They said, "Mr. Reynolds," I said, "Do you drive?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Hand your license over, you're going blind." And that was it. That's how you told me. Literally just ripping the Band-Aid straight off. And you'd think as a creative, that could be the worst thing could happen in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
But at that time, again, my life is one big kind of roller coaster. I was made homeless, and my daughter had some mobility. She's been born, and she had mobility issues, and we didn't know what was wrong with her at the time. So my life just couldn't get any worse, really.
Oh,
wow! How long were you homeless?
So we were given our marching orders over Christmas, so we moved out in January. And I thought what I had to do was because the housing situation in England is awful. I don't know how much you've heard, but it's actually awful. So I thought, I moved back to my parents because I was living away at the time, and I thought, they'll help me get, by living in that house, they helped me get a place. So I moved in with my mum, and we were in one bedroom. So me, my daughter, who had diagnosed with mild cerebral palsy, and my partner, and we were there for 8 months, and the councillors wouldn't do anything. And it was just by the grace of God that I joined. So again, I didn't know any blind people, and I joined a professional sports team, and I played cricket. And at that cricket was a gentleman who said, "Look, I've got a house for rent. Do you want to take it?" And I said, "Yes, please." And we've been here 7 years since. But again, as a blind dad, I still struggle because my daughter can't get down the stairs. So I have to carry my daughter down the stairs. She's 10 years old now. So then again, I'm still fighting for that safe, secure home for my daughter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clark.
No, I can kind of relate in the sense that I was a successful photographer, and I was in the top 5% money-making photographers in the country, and it was a divorce with children knocked me out of the game, and technically if you're living with your parents and you're 30 something and you are homeless, and that was the most terrifying 3 months of my life. I got back on the horse, but I can't imagine what you went through.
Wow.
Again, well, the idea, obviously, we heard about my childhood and stuff. I think my childhood and obviously discovering art at such an early age, gave me the strength to, right. I first of all, I was going to be the artist I wanted to be at the age of 6 years old.
Yeah.
Everything has gone for, like that. I was strive for, having a career. Right now, I want to be that famous artist. So I joined a disability arts group. I was exploring textures and sound and how to express myself without physically seeing the art. That was really interesting.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I really want to know how were you learning Braille after you lost sight?
So at this point, no. So at this point, it was like the idea was, how do I draw without not seeing? How do I experience, the way to engage with materials, the visual world, without physically seeing it?
Right.
So, and I words and sounds. So sound became my muse in a way.
Yes,
I don't know if you know. So obviously when you're vision impaired, people think that we're superhuman. But it's not that. It's just that, the idea that all the information now is traveling through our body in different means.
Right.
So I started to pay attention.
Yes, I always tell people that too, Clark, because people say, oh, your hearing gets better, your sense of smell gets better, whatever. I'm like, no. You just have to start paying attention more.
That's it. Paying attention. And the first sound I heard, was waiting for a train, and I could hear the train come before it even arrived, because I heard the boing on the track. Now, it's always been there, but I literally heard it for the first time. It was such a bizarre moment. And with the artwork, I was exploring obviously sound and textures and stuff. But one thing all kind of remained the same. I was a big fan of using dots in my artwork, right? Because when I was younger and I couldn't see, and I used to explain to people how I saw was like looking for 1,000 dots. So the art form pointillism was always embedded in my soul.
Wow.
And it was strange. So someone gave me a Perkins Braille typewriter 5 years ago. Right? Yeah. I love that machine. It was it was like the most amazing contraption.
It is.
It weighs a ton.
Yes.
But, and
it can be a weapon, just so you know.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, it reminded me because my friend gave me it in a suitcase. So it was very James Bond, CIA, very spy, CIA stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm important. And then I picked up the suitcase. Oh my God, what you got in it? It was like,
it's a brick.
What is it? A brick. A couple of bricks. So and of course I knew what Braille was, but I didn't know what Braille was, if that makes sense. So I looked upon it as a pattern. As a creative, my brain has been wired to patterns since the age of 6. So I learnt Braille in 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks. Just because I physically saw it as a pattern and not as individual dots.
Yeah, I love that.
And that was the key to me. It was like, obviously, the horror stores of Braille and stuff. And it was like, right. So what I did is I once I learned it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. I love the negative spaces. That's what really excited me. When you're writing sentences and it was the maze, the negative spaces, the patterns it created, that really got me excited. So what I did was I created an A to Z in buttons. So 2 centimeter buttons, and I called it my Rosetta Stone. And I took it to someone who could read Braille. And they instantly read it as A to Z. And I was like, wow, this is the light bulb moment. This is like, why isn't Braille this size? Why can't Braille be used as an art form, just like typography, is an art form?
Right.
And the beauty of Braille is it becomes a vessel to hold the English language. So it's never about the dot. And then I was like, I could use other shapes. As long as the pattern is the same, I can create Braille fonts. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. I love it. There's one of your, I don't know if you call it a sculpture, but it's the blue dog.
Yeah, the guide dog sculpture I did for the guide dogs, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really good.
That.
That's really good.
I absolutely love that. Well, now, and I know you've done quite a few shows. What's next for your art?
Well, I'm always pushing the boundaries. It's not just I came up with the color-coded Braille, and I had the exhibition in America with the giant color-coded Braille Scrabble. I've been on every TV show in the UK, and I've been on a couple in the US. And for me, it's about why can't I be on a late night show in the US talking about what I do as an artist?
Absolutely.
Where other creatives can, your actors, your musicians, your poets, your chefs now. Even doctors are getting on the act. Who knew? The famous, celebrity doctors now. And I think it's our time, as a blind artist, as a blind creative, it's our time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually doing Braille portraits this year.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. So the idea, if Andy Warhol was alive today,
Right.
me and him would be collaborating on
Yes.
Braille portraits.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Boy, I can get that because I'm moved more into the art field of photography, and it's trying to develop something new that I haven't seen before. That is really difficult. So are you creating?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, you get it as a photographer. You take 1,000 photos just to get that one photo
Right.
that tells a story. Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
So imagine. So the idea is I simplify iconic imagery, and to its bare shape, and then I find a story. Well, first of all, I find the story, and then you would see an image of, say, the king. I've just done the king in Braille, right? So it's all a pixelation. What pointillism is, right? But the story is. His own words he wrote to thank the public for the coronation weekend. Now, as a blind person, right, you don't need to see the image because you'll know more than a sighted person. That's the idea of my art, to give power back to a blind person in a visual world.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So
And I will tell you what I've started on. Literally, I started on yesterday. I started a Braille Trump portrait. Right, and so it's my biggest piece to date. It's 1.7 by 1.2 meters. It's that iconic image, just as he's been shot. It's probably the image of the 21st century. But
Yeah.
I found a transcript between Donald Trump and the Secret Service of those 2 minutes, and that's what the Braille is. So a sighted person will only see the image, right? But a Braille, someone who can read Braille will know that story. And what's the exciting part of that story is Trump was more worried about his shoes.
really,
Than his ear.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, because he takes his shoes off when he gives speeches because his feet swell up, right? So in the transcript it goes, "Sir, we've got to go," and Trump says, "No, I need my shoes."
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Did he?
I love, because it is true, when you're blind or low vision, there's always a delay in you getting the information, right?
Yes.
Like no matter what it is, there's always this delay. And so you're like twisting that so that the blind person actually gets the information before a sighted person.
That's right, and that's the beauty of my art. There are big signs saying you must touch the art, and the idea for a sighted person, oh my God, I have to learn Braille to find out what is written here. And I love that. I literally done the USA flag, which is part of an American trilogy series I'm doing. But in the USA flag, I've done all the presidents in order, but the Braille is in stars, right? And it's got a lovely feel. It's almost as prickly as the USA politics.
Wow. Wow.
And I also love that the sighted person can see, they can see it, and it's beautiful. Your art is beautiful.
Yes.
With the little bit of vision I have. But they're only getting a part of it. It's
only
the
getting the tip of the iceberg.
It's the person who's blind and knows how to read Braille that's actually going to get all of it. And again, that is twisting what typically happens, because people who are blind, the only way they can access a piece of art is if it's tactile. But even then, they're only getting parts of it, where you have twisted that so that the blind person is getting the whole picture, where the sighted person is only getting part of it. Wow.
Every piece of my artwork tells a story, from my color-coded Braille to my Braille portraits to my building blocks of Braille. You know, every piece tells a story. And that's what I find beautiful about the language of Braille, that I treat it like typography. You know, I give it color, I give it meaning, I give it presence. And we start to have discussions about the use of Braille, but also as a sight, what is sight loss? You know, I go to schools. I've literally been to school today, my last one of the year, and I go to schools and I teach Braille through art. And in the last 2 years, over 13,000 children across the UK and the world.
Wow.
Man, and that would have made learning Braille so much more fun. And also, I would think that this is a breakthrough in teaching Braille, because if you had, like a dog, right? And they could associate the Braille with the dog, right? So you're learning both at the same time, just like sighted children do. Like sighted children see a picture of a dog and it says D-O-G, or they see a picture of a cat and it says C-A-T. And you are giving that experience.
Ooh. Yeah, you just hit on some on a project I'm working on. So obviously I'm an artist, but I'm going into the kind of like educational toys, and I've designed a Braille cube. I've got the prototype, which is really exciting, but also a Braille jigsaw that you just hit upon the head. How did we learn ABC as a child? Right. So you imagine, I don't want to give too much away because, unless you know a multi-billionaire that wants to invest in me.
Shame on you if you're out there.
Yeah.
Yes. A Shark Tank, because it's not about the money for me. I've got these ideas and I think, I just need someone to help me fulfill those ideas for a better society. And that's what's key.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Thank you guys so much for taking a deep dive into Clark Reynolds. This is part 1. Part 2 is just going to be fantastic. And I'm so looking forward to you guys listening to it and absorbing all that. Take a listen to all of our other podcasts. We got Blind Sight, Blind Level Tech, Navigating Life with Vision Loss is coming out in just a few weeks. So we're doing a whole season on advocacy. So make sure that you get a hold of that. Like and subscribe, follow this podcast, share it with your friends and family. It really helps boost our ratings, and we want to get this information out to as many people as possible. Stay tuned for part 2 next week. Talk to you later.